In the mid-18th century, the world stood on the brink of transformation. In Europe, power struggles, colonial ambitions, and rising empires were all waiting for a spark. And in 1756, that spark ignited. It wasn't just a European war, it became a global conflict, the 7 Years' War. The 7 Years' War lasted from 1756 to 1763, fought not only across Europe but in North America, the Caribbean, India, and parts of Africa. That's why many historians consider it the first truly global war. But what exactly caused such a massive conflict? At its core, it was about rivalry. The intense colonial competition between Britain and France and the territorial tensions between Austria and Prussia ignited this massive war. The alliances looked like this. Britain, Prussia, and Hanover formed one bloc. Opposing them were France, Austria, Russia, Sweden, and Saxony. This shift in partnerships is known as the diplomatic revolution, where traditional enemies became allies. Most of the fighting in Europe centered around Silesia, where Prussia's King Frederick the Great faced overwhelming odds. Despite being outnumbered, he held off the French, Austrians, and Russians with strategic brilliance. Prussia was on the brink of collapse until Russian Empress Elizabeth died, and her successor, Peter III, who admired Frederick, suddenly withdrew Russia from the war. This war did more than shift borders, it reshaped the world order. In the short term, Britain's war debts led it to impose new taxes on its American colonies, planting the seeds of the American Revolution. France's defeat shook public trust in its monarchy, helping set the stage for the French Revolution. In North America, the British clashed with the French and their Native American allies. The conflict was fierce, but the turning point came in 1759 with the Siege of Quebec. Britain emerged victorious and gained dominance over Canada. In the Caribbean, sugar-rich islands became battlegrounds between British and French fleets. Meanwhile, on the African coast, the conflict centered on strategic trading posts. In India, the British and French East India Companies fought for trade supremacy. The Battle of Plassey in 1757 gave the British a decisive upper hand, laying the foundation for colonial rule in India. By 1763, both sides were exhausted. The war officially ended with the signing of the Treaty of Paris. France ceded Canada and large parts of India to Britain. Spain handed over Florida to Britain but received Louisiana from France. Prussia retained control over Silesia. Britain emerged as the dominant global colonial power. In the long term, warfare, diplomacy, and global strategy evolved significantly. Power dynamics shifted dramatically. Britain ruled the seas while France turned inward. The 7 Years' War didn't just change the past, it shaped the future. When the cannons fell silent, the course of history had already shifted, and the world would never be the same again.